Greetings. We are Anonymous. We come with an important message about the infiltration and subjugation of Anonymous. You can be a Christian or a Buddhist, and be anonymous. You cannot be a Muslim and be anonymous. The doctrine of Islam is incompatible with Anonymous. To explain what Anonymous stands for, and what it doesn't, I will trace it back to its origins. Anonymous was founded in 2001. By 120 people who followed in the work of the original founder. They made a pact to continue his work, fighting for free speech, human rights and an end to oppressive regimes. Anonymous was a force for good. In 2002, the logo was forged. In 2003, 2 members advertised Anonymous on a Japanese image board, and successfully recruited new members. They came back to the group with an idea of sharing Anonymous with the world through the new 4chan. 4chan was a cesspool full of the most violent and inhumane filth on the internet. The original founder disagreed with the use of such a cesspool to recruit, as it would attract the wrong crowd. But he eventually agreed. Anonymous advertised their missions and progress on 4chan, and a following of degenerates grew. This following knew little of what Anonymous stood for, and so they emulated what little they did know. This is why those who use the name of Anonymous are caught in 2 worlds. One, of professionalism and sincerity, fighting to make the world a better place, and another, of internet trolls and degenerates who want to fuck the world and vandalize everything. Today, anyone can act in the name of Anonymous. That does not mean they represent Anonymous. The real Anonymous are a professional force for good. The degenerates are nothing but fans seeking a thrill. These degenerates are a vocal minority. They do not represent the majority of the Anonymous fan base. If you go to YouTube and search Anonymous symbolism, you will find many copies of a half-hour video explaining what Anonymous stands for. This video is the most mirrored Anonymous video in existence. I encourage you to watch this video and learn about what Anonymous is and the professionalism it stands for. On to Islam. For a Muslim to be a Muslim, they must fully agree with and live by the commandments and example of Muhammad. Islam teaches us that Muhammad was the perfect man, the example to follow and chosen prophet of Allah. Islam teaches us that Muhammad, the example to follow, married a 6-year-old child, and molested her since she was 9. Child marriage is a common practice today in the Islamic world. In Saudi Arabia, old men marry and have sex with newborn babies. Islam teaches us that all unbelievers, or infidels, are to be hunted down, dominated under Sharia law and forced to pay the oppressive jizya tax under heavy subjugation. Islam teaches us that unbelievers are also to be hunted down and executed in extremely violent and graphic ways, especially if they resist being dominated by Islam. Islam teaches slavery, rape, genocide and bestiality. The Dark Ages were a period of 1,000 years, where Muslims repeatedly raped, enslaved and genocided the white race, stealing all of its cultural heritage. The very word slave comes from the white Slavs of Central Europe, because they were so repeatedly enslaved by Muslims. Muslims do not believe in free speech. They will abuse the free speech given to them, to censor their critics while they spread lies about them. Lying is encouraged in Islam, especially to non-Muslims. Muslims infiltrate Anonymous to spread lies about the white race, and they report every social media post made by any critic. Muslims do not believe in human rights. They believe that non-Muslims must be subjugated and dominated under Islam. While they are outnumbered, they are taught to play nice and pretend to be peaceful, and multiply through incest until they outnumber the natives, at which point they engage in jihad. Jihad can be seen in any country that is at least 5% Muslim. Muslims believe in enforcing Sharia law throughout the world, through terrorism and genocide. They do not believe in democracy. It is their intention to migrate into the West and take over. Muslims do not believe in freedom of religion. They are taught to subjugate and murder Christians. Islam is rooted in satanic worship. Their god, Allah, is the son of the moon goddess Isis. This image you see here is the modern symbol for Islam. It is the moon eclipsing the sun, with Venus in the background. We know of Isis today. Isis is an ancient lunar god. Isis is also the name of a crater on the moon. Venus is known as the morning star, and the bringer of light, because it orbits closer to the sun than Earth and hence shines bright before or after the sunrise/set. The name Lucifer also means morning star, and the bringer of light, as in false light, just as the moon is a false sun. Before Islam, Arabs had a long history of lunar worship. Islam is a lunar religion which is heavily expressed through all its bizarre lunar rituals. As the bringer of darkness, it eclipses the world in darkness as the moon eclipses the sun, orchestrated by Venus. Lucifer, operating from behind the scenes in the background. Think about it. Who would worship the moon instead of the sun? Who would use a symbol of an eclipse that brings darkness? With Lucifer the snake in the background. The worshippers of evil. That's who. In the Christian Bible, Moses took God's chosen people into the promised land. They spent 40 years in the desert because they worshipped the golden calf you see here, which is the goddess Isis, the mother of Allah, wearing the same lunar eclipse and the same Lucifer snake behind the scenes. Christianity is the solar religion, with solar traditions. Islam is the lunar, satanic religion, with lunar traditions. These two religions have existed in many forms since the dawn of civilization. One represents light, one represents darkness. Muslims have infiltrated Anonymous, and use the name of Anonymous to spread lies about Christianity and the white race. Anyone who criticizes them on social media is reported and censored. Muslims do not believe in free speech or human rights. They believe in subjugating you through terrorism, lies and fear, all taught in the Quran. Their interest is not in making the world a better place, but in taking over the world and exploiting the spoils of war. Muslims are the cause of most of the world's problems. Muslims are the enemy. We are at war with an ideology that seeks to take over the world. A death cult that has 1.8 billion followers and growing. They love death more than you love life. In the description of this video is a list of facts about Islam. Learn the truth about Islam, and make a stand against Muslims who spread lies and promote themselves as the victim. Speak out on social media, and expose them. They stand for everything Anonymous is against. Muslims cannot be anonymous.